Logan came after me for my religion. The show hit rock bottom and we weren't getting paid. I was getting paid $5,000 a month, and that's covering just Reed. I have a mortgage, I have my sister that works for me, I have Belle, I'm trying to get married, I had all these things. So I had to start my own show because we're not making money on this show and I'm getting pushed out of this show.
Well, at the time you weren't making money. You made money on the show.
He doesn't want to talk money. I don't know he believes it out, but George made $317,000 in the 15 months that he got paid for on Impulsive. The work requirements consisted of about 3 days a month, 3 hours each day, traveling the world, networking, and meeting some of the coolest people ever. It comes out to about $2,300 per hour, and he also had 10% equity of the entire show.
And then on my birthday, you guys shot 3 episodes, so I couldn't show up.
2 episodes he's talking about, not 3, were shot 4 days after George's birthday. His birthday's on January 3rd. We shot those episodes on January 7th. We were already in Vegas signing the UFC to Prime, and as we do, want to capitalize on the location and our use of time and energy and the guests in that city. George didn't come to work because he wanted to spend time with his family for his belated birthday, which I totally understand, and we even prayed.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I wanted to weigh in on this Logan Paul, George Janko, I guess beef, more like they're airing out their dirty laundry and kind of, putting receipts out there, or at least to me, Logan Paul put out receipts, and Janko was more about feelings and didn't want to talk about actual numbers, because when you really get into the actual numbers of things, it kind of feels like Janko was being a bit of a baby and maybe mismanaging money, because, once they actually, I'll let the video play and, stop it periodically. But once you get into the actual numbers of things, I'm not a Logan Paul stan. I'm not here like simping on Logan Paul. I actually don't like him. If you've seen my channel before, hopefully you have, you've noticed that I actually shit on Logan Paul a lot. And I like when people go independent. With that being said, George Janko would have done best for him to leaving things as a mystery, because now with the Mike Maylock interview, that they'll be referencing, a lot of things came to light. And then when you really get into it, as far as I see it, it was George Janko being a bit of a baby, and then, or not just a baby, but also not standing up for himself. He kind of lets Logan Paul run all over him and tells him what to do. And I get it. He probably thought, hey, right now what's best for me is to, keep my head down and do what I'm told, until he couldn't take it and decided to venture off on his own. I mean, I've had my own business. I've also managed people's business. I've also, been in sales. I've done a varied amount of things, and now I'm independent. So, you don't, when you're independent, you don't take anybody's shit. You don't, I work actually for my own family's company, but I am the head of administration. So it's a lot more different, but I've managed other people's companies that weren't a family thing, wasn't something that was a part of my family. So you have to manage a bit different there. But let's go ahead and get into it. I'll break it up as I go along, but I don't know. I mean, when you get into the money portions, it does seem like George Janko was arguing more feelings than facts, but let's check it out.
I had to start my own show because we're not making money on this show and I'm getting pushed out.
You made money on the show.
Alrighty. Yeah, that's why anytime you venture off, it's usually because you're either not making money, or you think you can run things better or do it better. So it's not really a valid point like, oh, I left because of this reason. I mean, everyone leaves for those reasons. No one ever leaves a job because they're super happy the way things are going. It's not like, oh man, I'm so happy, let me dip. So it goes without saying.
To show you my books, I was spending 10 G's a month being on the show.
All right, let's talk about this. Obviously, I wasn't on the podcast to represent myself, so I'd like to clarify a few things that were said. As well as having his own credit card, all expenses related to the show were paid for, including all travel and lodging. Obviously, George's total reimbursement came out to $20,000, 317 cents. I'd love to see any books that show otherwise. Spending $120,000 a year to be on a show is a little confusing.
This is a guy who's sending...
Alrighty, yeah, exactly. Most of the time when you do work for a company and it's very rare when you're paying out of pocket. If you're paying out of pocket and your company the company you work for requires you. I traveled for business very often, so anything that I did spend my own money on while I was out, you expensed. I mean, the company reimburses you. Some companies, might go as low as 50-50, which is, I've never seen that, but the majority of them will almost give you all your reimbursement. So, and he had a company card on top of that, which I did also have a vehicle, and they gave you a gas vehicle. a gas card. At least the company I worked for did. And any flights, any hotels, they covered. So these were things that get a bit shaky, and I do agree with Logan.
Screenshots of $11 million a week that he's making.
This statement is so crazy that it's almost laughable. That would mean I'm making $572 million a year. I'm nowhere near that. What happened was Prime had a very successful month. I think we did like 60 to 70 million, and I sent it to our group chat because I was proud of the business. I was stoked to show the boys, and I think George maybe misinterpreted that as like my personal income.
The show hit rock bottom.
He might have showed an 11 million, but that doesn't mean there's overhead. He's not the sole owner. I think he only owns about 20% of the actual company. So I'm not sure what they're talking about when they said 11 million. We'd have to look into their books, but what he actually made most likely was not that much. And granted, he does have to be taxed all that. I'm not sure what Prime has to do with, like, is Janko saying that Impulsive made 11 million? Like, he's showing like statements from Impulsive. I'm not sure what the revenue from Impulsive was, what they were actually making total, but it seems like Logan Paul makes it clear that the $11 million was from Prime. And then Logan Paul has more than one, avenue of money income. He has more than one stream of income. He makes money from WrestleMania, Impulsive, Prime, any other sponsors that he might have, or however else he might generate revenue. I just think that Janko needs to, it seems like he was only depending on one revenue stream. And when that revenue stream is coming from, something that's made money from AdSense and sponsors, and you guys aren't producing as much, or they're not getting as much views, you should have that in the back of your head. Like, you should have more than one, stream of income. Janko was like, oh, we hit rock bottom. Yeah, that's fine. But you should have known that, entertainment, especially when you're not like a movie star, or like your entertainment is like on YouTube, the second the audiences stop, even in movies, the second the audiences stop tuning in, or like TV shows, you're going to take a hit. So you should always be thinking, how else can I generate revenue? What other options are there? And Logan Paul, was prepared for when, times hit hard, and Janko apparently wasn't. Let's go on.
And we weren't getting paid. I was getting paid $5,000 a month.
But you did make a sizable amount of money on the show.
And by the way, always grateful. I was always grateful
like
for
that?
it. Yeah, I don't like to talk about money.
I know he doesn't want to talk.
This is a guy who's...
And I think George maybe misinterpreted that as like my personal income.
The show hit rock bottom, and we weren't getting paid. I was getting paid $5,000 a month.
But you did
Like 60 to 70 million, and I sent it to our group chat because I was proud of the business. I was stoked to show the boys, and I think George maybe misinterpreted that as like my personal income.
The show hit rock bottom, and we weren't getting paid. I was getting paid $5,000 a month.
But you did make a sizable amount of money on the show.
And by the way, always grateful. I was always grateful
like
for
that?
it. Yeah, I don't like to talk about money.
I know he doesn't want to talk money. I know he believes it out, but George made $317,000 in the 15 months that he got paid for on Impulsive.
Okay.
I was getting paid $5,000 a month.
But you did make a sizable...
I was proud of the business. I was stoked to show the boys, and I think George maybe misinterpreted that as like my personal income.
The show hit rock bottom, and we weren't getting paid. I was getting paid $5,000 a month.
But you did make a sizable...
It would mean I'm making $572 million a year. Stoked to show the boys, and I think George maybe misinterpreted that as like my personal income.
The show hit rock bottom, and we weren't getting paid. I was getting paid $5,000 a month.
But you did make a sizable amount of money on the show.
And by the way, always grateful. I was always grateful
like
for
that?
it. Yeah, I don't like to talk about money.
I know he doesn't want to talk money. I know he believes it out, but George made $317,000 in the 15 months that he got paid for on Impulsive. The work requirements consisted of about 3 days a month, 3 hours each day, traveling the world, networking, and meeting some of the coolest people ever. It comes out to about $2,300 per hour, and he also had 10% equity of the entire show.
Alrighty, so first things first. If you're making 300, you're in the maybe top, you're for sure in the top, 5-10% of people in the US. If you're making over $100,000, $317,000 in a little bit over a year, something's happening. You're mismanaging money 100%, or you're paying for things that you're trying to live like you're getting much more than that. listen, you don't need assistants, you don't need bookers, you don't need a lot of things that some of these people will spend money on. I had appointments, I had flights, I had all these things, and guess what? The majority of people don't need an assistant. You don't need a lot of these things that people pay for that they want to, you feel important when you're like, oh, I have an assistant, I have this and that. But for three engagements in a month for 3 hours, you still have almost 25 days to bullshit, essentially. You can be, he might have to say, oh, some of that's travel time. Maybe he's only working on the podcast 3 days out of the month, but 15 he's traveling. That still leaves you another 15 days to like do something else. I just don't know what other things he could have been doing to generate revenue. He could say, oh, well, I was doing my own personal podcast. That's fine. You can do that. That's fine. As long as those other, things you're taking on for your own personal don't affect your big income, then you're okay. Your boss doesn't care what you do with your free time. But 3 days out of like 30, brother, you have a lot of free time. And for those, few days that you were making, you're in the top 5%. So maybe you're buying or renting or leasing or whatever your mortgage, you're living outside your means. You should have gotten, if you're making $300,000 over in 1 year, right? But you have a $5 million home. Yeah, obviously. Downscale. A lot of these guys want to live a lavish life, but don't realize that their income, the type of income that they have, is based on your popularity, your interest, whether people are tuning in. So with that, you have to have the foresight to be like, well, hold on. I don't work 9 to 5. I don't work 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday. I don't have guaranteed work. My work is really, not fixed. I'm not clocking in. So I'm going to take measures to protect myself and not live outside my means. So, and $5,000 a month, I mean, he's making it seem like it's no big deal, but I'm assuring you, over more than half the country isn't making $5,000 a month. So you kind of sound arrogant. You sound like very entitled. I don't know.
You, not Caleb, not...
Why not get a job? Logan Paul was doing WrestleMania, or he was in the WWE. Those days, you're for sure not going to be shooting. So work your podcast in those days. Logan Paul has other engagements. You guys must share some type of calendar to know when things are happening. Do that.
Not Kevin, not Dylan. Nobody fucking called me when I got fired.
George did not get fired. He quit. I'll touch on that in a second. But after he quit, I called him frequently. I reached out. I wanted to reconcile the friendship. I invited him to my birthday party and WrestleMania and even my ranch a few weeks later. He chose not to come. He also unfollowed all the people he mentioned on Instagram, which is maybe why they didn't call him. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but he still does not follow them to this day.
And then on my birthday...
Okay, so with that, anytime I've left a job or anything like that, I don't, even if it's I've had worked for people that I was close to, for several years, some of them over 7-8 years. The second I left, I wasn't like, why isn't this person calling me anymore? It's like, well, especially if you went out of your way to delete them from your online social media. If someone deletes me, I'm like, well, obviously they don't want to talk. I'm not like, hey, let me reach out anyways. Who knows when the deleting and when the blocking, when it happened? I mean, Logan Paul's using that really. I mean, who knows? He should have said, hey, who deleted who first? What happened? How long was it? But if you're expecting everyone, once you leave or quit or fired, whatever it is, to just be like, hey, sorry, or come on, bro, like, grow up. Like, everyone's living their own life. You can't just be like, no one reached out to me. It's like, bro, you already had a podcast going. You were already, the second within the first, within a month, of being fired or quitting or whatever, you already had something up and going. So I'm not gonna, speculate, but it seems like if within a month you already have all that set up, it's going, you probably knew somewhere down the pipeline that this might have been coming and you were getting prepared. You're a grown-up. These are grown-up things. I mean, only children see this and be like, oh man, yeah, no one called him. It's like, who gives a fuck?
birthday, you guys shot 3 episodes, so I couldn't show up.
The 2 episodes he's talking about, not 3, were shot 4 days after George's birthday. His birthday's on January 3rd. We shot those episodes on January 7th. We were already in Vegas signing the UFC to Prime, and as we do, want to capitalize on the location and our use of time and energy and the guests in that city. George didn't come to work because he wanted to spend time with his family for his belated birthday, which I totally understand and we even praised.
One of the things that
Okay, this part. There's been many, when you travel for work, there's been Thanksgivings I've missed, Christmases, birthdays, holidays, but when you're chasing that like revenue that you want, he complains about money not being there or not being paid or missing, or it's my mom's birthday, but I mean, he took that's a pretty long, if they would have said on the day of my birthday or whatever, I wanted to be with my family, fuck it, cool. No worries. But 4 days later, bro, come on. Like, what the fuck? You're old. You're not 20, you're not 18, you're not 15 years old. You know, I get it. Enjoy your life. Have a good time if that's what your priorities are. But you can tell Logan is a money guy. He's out here chasing money. And Mike is his right-hand guy. So they're like, hey, let's seize this opportunity. We're out here already. We're doing things. So let's capitalize. Janko doesn't have, or George doesn't have that mentality. He wants to enjoy his family. That's cool. Awesome. But you can't now use that against you as like, oh, look, they purposely did it on my birthday. It's like, it doesn't seem like it was on your birthday. It seems like, I mean, granted, we're taking 2 sides. Once you hear both sides, I originally heard George's side and I was like, wow, on his birthday? It seemed odd to me. I'm like, why would they choose the day of his birthday to, do all this? And then you find out that no, it was 4 days later. I mean, Logan Paul, he came with receipts. I mean, these are good points. They seem like good points for me right now, and this is his business, so it's called impulsive, he's the driving factor. So if he's not, making moves, no one else is going to make moves for him. He's running the show. When I ran the show in my personal business, I made sure that whoever I employed or whatever, it's like, hey, this is my show. I'm running this thing the way I want to. You can go along, or, you can be left behind. I get it. It's hard when it's friends and business. It makes it very difficult, but there's only so many options you got on this situation.
I love about George, he prioritizes his family and friends over anything.
I got my show going, and then not only was I controlled and pushed around on Impulsive, but then Logan's making calls and directing my show. He told me that I couldn't take Celsius.
So this is the big one. Making calls, trying to make it seem like I wanted to control his show is absolutely ridiculous. As you can see right here, I was like, hey, we got to get you Prime because I saw him drinking our competitor, and he told me to call him. He was filming my reaction to tell me he took a deal with a competitor. I told him, please don't film. Like, I'd like to talk about this. I hope you're joking, by the way. The truth is, I thought it was a bad look that my best friend and co-host took a brand deal with our competitor without consulting me, asking me, giving us even a chance to match it before he signed the deal, because the audience that he's building, at least at the time, on his own podcast was being funneled directly from the podcast that I was building with him. I said, hey, dude, I understand you need to make money. The entire text is right here that I sent him after our conversation.
Okay, let's see. Totally understand you have to do what you have to do. I support your decision. I respect the fact that you're focusing on your platform, and I understand you have to pay your bills. I'm sorry, Impulsive isn't enough for that. Just like you're looking out for yourself, I have to do the same. My business partner and I don't find it appropriate to promote one of our biggest competitors. I'm excited to watch you build your podcast, and when and if the deal is up, you want to come to Impulsive, come on Impulsive. The invite is open. I'd like to talk about how to move forward with this amicably on social, because I'm not sure we can avoid the laying public back and forth and handling if this matures way. This matures way that our 8 years of friendship deserves. We support you. And
because I did understand.
I can't read some of this stuff. This is just business. I'm excited to see you at the WrestleMania and my birthday dinner. Love you. This is a good text. I mean, a lot of businesses will even write into their contracts, you have do not compete clauses. Like, some places won't even let you some places, especially when you're working business and sales, I had to sign contracts that if I signed on a client and I moved to another company, you cannot, go and try to poach that customer into, because you obviously build a rapport and a relationship, and they sometimes companies sign because they want to work directly with you, and then you leave that company and then they are like, oh, well, I really like that guy. They tell you, oh, this is your new guy, so then you have to sign contracts that for a year or however long that you will not try to go and speak to that customer or compete or give them a better deal, since you know what their previous deal is exactly, since you wrote it up. So this actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, it is a bad look, especially since not only is Logan a percentage owner of Prime, it seems like they're also sponsored. So if one of the people in the show has their own show, it's just a conflict of interest. He didn't tell him he couldn't sign Celsius. He said, you can have Celsius, that's fine, but you cannot also be making company money from us, which are part of the money that we make is through AdSense and sponsorships from a Prime, right? So Prime's like, hey, bro, we sponsor your show, this and that, we give you money, but one of your guys is with our direct competitor. I mean, so it's just gonna happen. That's business. So you can't get mad. You can't get mad at that. That's just the way it goes.
If you needed to make money, but I thought it was also a little odd because he did make $317,000 in 15 months. Regardless, I did tell him I can't have him on Impulsive if he's going to take the deal with the competitor, but if after he makes the money he wants to come back to the podcast, he's more than welcome.
Hey man, where you're at, there's no room for you to grow. They won't let you grow. They will not let you grow.
I thought saying that to Mike was a little crazy. He's grown a lot. He has 2.7 million subscribers since we met. He's a multimillionaire, a best-selling author. I tried as much as I could to help him get into those positions, and it's not entirely because of me. Mike is a phenom in his own right, and he capitalized on the platform that I gave him, which is awesome. Just like George is doing now, but if that's not growth, what is? In fact, I think people forget, I praised George for starting a podcast a lot.
Georgie started his own podcast. I think it's a great idea. I always love when my co-hosts venture out and do their own things. Congratulations. It's awesome, guys. Check out his podcast.
And also saying they won't let you grow was a little hurtful because I thought at least I helped Mike do some of the things that he did, and I even encouraged him to start his own podcast.
I think you should take a page out of Georgie's book and start a show of your own.
There's no greater feeling than watching people you love succeed. I tried to give people around me a platform, and if they capitalize on it, fantastic. Mike and George did. And George will even tell you this off camera. I encouraged him to pursue media and comedy since 2015. I really believe in the kid, and I still do. There's a lot more. I'm not going to get into it, but this isn't to say, by the way, that I didn't fuck up along the way. I did. I should not have mocked his beliefs. I apologize for that. I should have stuck up for him with Bobby Lee, and I definitely should have had his back more like a friend. There's a lot of things I would have done differently, but here we are. It saddens me that our story has unfolded this way. I wish him nothing but health, wealth, happiness, all the success that he wants, and I hope that one day we can sit down and have a relationship and a conversation.
Alrighty, so also, George Janko used Logan Paul as a jump off. Let's leave it at that. That period. Would George Janko? I mean, we don't know because we can't rewrite history. So many things would be different. Anytime you play revisionist history, it's a fucking shit show. So I try not to. But Logan Paul would maybe. He definitely benefits from his co-host, of course, but. Rarely do we see second and third chairs go out and break out into their own and become successful. George Janko came out successful. Perfect. Awesome. But would he have such a rise if he didn't have a previous... would he have gotten that initial boost? Would he have gotten that initial boost if he didn't have a weird end to that saga? People... I feel like originally, and myself included, I'm only going to speak for myself right now. Once that you could see it falling apart, and George Janko started on his own show, I immediately thought, oh, he's going to talk about it. So I tuned into a couple episodes, realizing he wasn't really talking too much about it. Maybe he had an NDA. And furthermore, if they did have an NDA, that they fucked over any NDA now. The fact that they put out numbers, they did any of that stuff, it gives them essentially almost free range, I'm pretty sure, for George to just openly talk about what the problems are. So, before when he was like, oh, I don't want to get into it, oh, I'm being silenced, this and that, Logan Paul exposed your numbers. So I think that should be open reign for you to talk about whatever. It's like, well, he, divulged my salary. So yeah, let's talk about everything. So this might give him a bigger opening to, talk about things that he wants to talk about. But, that sort of drama happens. You start your own show. It propels you. initially a lot of maybe people tuned in to hear the drama, but found out that he was articulate, had good points, great guest, listened well, had good conversations, and people stayed tuning in, and the show grew naturally. But if it wasn't for that initial bump that, yes, you got from Logan Paul, of course, it wouldn't have happened. I mean, and as far as a lot of people are saying, oh no, that's none of that stuff matters. It's all about the Bobby Lee situation. Listen, there's a section where George Janko talks about how Bobby Lee puts his nuts in his face or something like that, or balls in his face. I'm not too sure, with the interview with Mike. The second that happened, he should have bossed up and been like, don't you ever fucking do something like that, or I will knock your fucking teeth in. That would have let Bobby know right off the bat, like, yo, I'm not here to play around like that. You can be a guest. We can have a good time from here on out, but don't you do anything like that. But no, what did he do? He was submissive. He let Logan Paul tell him what to do. I think he's more ashamed at himself that he felt that he had so low value, and the only option was to be a co-host for Logan Paul, that was his only option. So because it's his only avenue and his only option, he has to bow down. And to a man, that's a hard pill to swallow. It was a hit to his ego. I don't think he really cares about like being essayed or whatever by Bobby Lee. I think it was the fact that Logan was like, no, shut up, don't talk, take what he's doing. Yeah, they cut out a bunch of stuff. They made him look so it looks like he just got mad over nothing. But now that they exposed that there was a lot of stuff going on, I don't care how much money you're fucking paying me. I'm nobody's fucking dog. So the second you're like, hey, you're going to let this dude touch you, I'm probably punching that dude that's trying to grab me, and I'm punching the main host. Don't you, like, this is the thing that some dudes, he did math in his mind, and he's like, well, I have no other sources of revenue. This is happening. And then he still ended up walking out anyways. So why not just assert yourself, be like, don't you fucking do that, bitch. I don't care who you are, what comedy show, or how big you are. No one fucking touches me. But Logan Paul was his daddy. His daddy told him, sit there, be quiet, and be good. And he did it. So that's what he's mad at. So yeah. Does Logan take some fault in like saying those things? But he's trying to build the funniest. He's trying to get the craziest shit on his show to clickbait, clip the show. Oh, Bobby Lee, grabs George Janko, whatever. He's trying to get the most. He's trying to do the most. He's trying to make things, clippable, viral moments. So he's amping it up. But George Janko doesn't have, at that point, the willpower, the strength, the balls to be like, I'm not taking this. Now that he has his own thing, he's making a lot of money. He's, doing this and that. Yeah, now he's bossing up. He's like, oh, if I would have seen him, I would have punched him. Or he mentions, punching or hitting Logan Paul. Now, but when you were in that moment, where was that energy? That's what I don't like. It's like, bro, like, if you're gonna boss up in the moments where you need to, not in the reflective, like, oh, I would have done this, I would have done, but you didn't. You didn't. I mean, some people do it, some people don't. I mean, I'm not here to judge. I don't care. That's their option. But don't now try to like revise history and be like, oh, I would have done this. It's like, but you didn't do anything. All you did is storm off. That's what you did. But I don't know. That's my take on it. Logan Paul brought the receipts. George Janko was talking a lot about feelings. I wish he would have covered the rich dad portion when I don't know if I'll probably run the clip, but George Janko was talking to Mike and he tells a story about Logan Paul saying, go to your rich dad.
Then I said, well, what do you want me to do for my bills, bro? I got no money. And he says, go have your rich dad pay for it.
Listen,
that's fighting words, bro. Look at me. That's fighting words, bro. You don't bring up somebody's father.
Would you say that the way that you handled it from a word standpoint was mature, acceptable?
What did I say? That I beat the fucking brakes off of him?
Correct.
If he was in front of me, I would have swung at him.
But that's what I'm trying to say. We were at a point where no one was speaking properly.
I think at that point they were already not on good terms. So Logan, I don't want to put words in Logan's mouth or try to act like I know what he was thinking. But if I'm already beefing with someone, I'm gonna talk shit. If we're already not cool, what is there to hold back from? You have fallouts with people sometimes. You say some wild shit, but I mean, out of all the bad things he could have told them, it's like, go tell your rich dad. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, be lucky, be great. Thank God George Janko has a rich dad. that he can go to. You know, there's a lot of people out there. I'm not speaking about myself, unfortunately, you know, well off, whatever. Thank you. Thank God or whatever. But there's a lot of people out there that have zero options. So for him to be an insult to be like, oh, you have a rich dad. I mean, if he is rich, we don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he is. We'll look into it. But if he is rich, I mean, at least you got a crutch, brother. At least you got help. How many people out there don't even have help? So yeah, I think George Janko, great podcaster, great show, great interviewer, but maybe a bit entitled. Maybe he's acting a bit childish. He's acting like he was assessing his worth higher than, and maybe it's a little bit of like, once you look back and you're mad at somebody, everything that they did, you're seeing it now from a negative lens. So things that would have not even bothered him, like, oh, go to your fucking rich dad, now are like, oh, wow, now reflecting, yeah, that is a crazy insult. You know, so he's kind of like revising things to fit the narrative, you know? So, but 300,000 plus, chill out, brother. Like, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for sitting around and talking for 3 days out of the month. I mean, if you were that concerned about more money, should have started your own podcast a long time ago. I mean, maybe you don't take the competitors, you know, offer when they ask you to sponsor when Celsius puts the offer out. Maybe if you start the podcast and you start doing your own thing, maybe you get the prime, you know, sponsorship sooner. But you were already at odds. You guys were already fighting to where, what did you expect? But that's all I have for now. Thanks for watching. If you stayed to the end, like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know. Am I a fucking idiot? Am I totally out of my fucking gourd and have no idea what I'm talking about? Is George Janko 100% right? Is Logan Paul more right? Is it even? Do you see? Can you see both sides? Are you a Logan Paul hater and you're just like, fuck it, it doesn't matter what happened. I hate Logan Paul. Also an option. I don't care. Comment down below. Like, subscribe, hit that noti bell, and tune in next time. Later. Peace.